Good afternoon. This is Melissa with the StockSwoosh.com and welcome. Today I thought I would go over FIO, which was the Stock Swoosh Show play of the day. And the funny thing is the stock is green on the day. Right now at 2:15 and 24 seconds, this stock has a bottoming tail with a green body. And this was my play of the day. Got a perfect entry in it, did an ad in it, and wrote it down as long as I could, waiting for the break. And, this is why you have to manage these things down all the way. And look at it now. Look at it now. So obviously I'm out of this thing, but this was my short today. And look at it. So to be able to make money shorting something that's going to close like this, it's going to close like this now. There's less than 2 hours left in the day. Is just nothing but pure skill. So let's take a look at it. This gap fell out of the sky this morning, very hard and fast and quick and late, by the way, as well. Okay. Did not get to the real target, which was $13 after that $12.75, $12.50, but very well could have done it. The market's very strong today, so this decided to push back up in the afternoon, but it had a beautiful play in the morning. Let's go over it. Damaging gap, though. Even closing here like this today, this is a damaging gap. The direction is down, and that's the only way to play it, and it's exactly why I played it the way that I did this morning. So let's go look at it here. Oh, you know what? Let's look at the pre-market first in the 15-minute. Look at this. I was watching this morning. So this morning I was watching this, and I said, you know what? There's going to be 3 million people in this before the open, and there was 4 million people in this before the open. 4 million people in this before the open. There was way, way more than I even thought. And it just collapsed. I mean, this was right before the open. This thing ran down. This is at 9:15, it touched down at 13:09. Just completely capitulated up here where it closed the night before. It closed the night before at $18 and lost $5. Out of the sky this morning, this thing happened late at 8:30. So, but plenty of time for me to figure it out and rate it and look at it. And I was very harsh with this today. Had to meet the requirements, had to follow the guidelines. We'll go over it. So, here's the trade. I said this has to be taken on a rally. And I was originally thinking I was going to be aggressive on it and do it quick and fast and hard out of the gate. And then after 4 million people were into it and it dropped down all the way to $13, I said, nope, it absolutely has to push back and rally. And you know what? That's what it did. It was a beautiful, nice rally up in here, right into a resistance area, held, set up, boom, you're in. Stop over the high of the day, you let it come down. Broke the low of the day many, many times when this happens. Look, broke the low of the day. No, wait, it was back in here. Here. Boop, and went right back up against it. But this was a beautiful trade. This was a beautiful trade from all the way down here. This was my whole day. It was a really nice trade. And the target was $13 at least, and I didn't think that was crazy. However, the reality is the market was strong today. So this went as far as it could have gone. As far as it could have gone. And the full length on this was more than $1 today, $1.20 something. It was a really nice trade. It was a really nice trade. You max these things out for as much as you can get. However, you do have to have a stop in then if you're holding some into the bigger target. I really gave this a lot of room. I really gave this a lot of room to wiggle and jiggle through the lunchtime period. And I had the last portion of it right up against these people here. But on the one, okay, I was watching this live. I don't leave my computer when I'm trading, even when I have the stops in. I was watching this around the lunch. This was fine. Wasn't a big deal. Came down in here. Looked great. Did this here. Was a little concerned. Didn't do anything with it yet. Still held the number. Came up in here. When this happened here, and this started to lift. See this here? Then I said, wait a minute. And I actually took it off then manually, which actually was close really to where the stop was anyways. But I manually lifted it then at this point. So, but it would have taken me out. But do you see why you have to have stops in or levels that you're looking at? You take the trade down as far as it's going to go. And that's how you trade to get to the bigger targets. But you can book stuff and chunk it all along the way. You chunking it out all along the way. Beautiful chart though. I mean, really, really nice, clean entry in this today on the break. And then a rundown. Broke the low of the day a few times in here. Looked great, even on the 15-minute. This is right before lunch. Look. Was setting up in here perfectly. Getting ready to base, and wait for this 20 to squeeze down and break down again. And I was thinking it could set up again for another play to even break lower if it wanted to go down all the way to 1275, 1250. But you know what? Didn't do it here then, and this is where it popped. And look, it even went over the high of the day. It went over the high of the day. This is every short in the world getting stopped down here who didn't manually lift it, because probably a lot of people had their stops up here in the 60. Where did this finally blow? Yeah, here. This bar here, which hit through 60 is what made this puppy blow. Boop. And then it really blew up here because some people probably did have a stop over the high of the day. Now, I can't keep the stop over the high of the day this late. Now you're up this much money, even if you take some off. You got to monitor it on these lower time frames. Let's look at the 30. Yeah, see, it shouldn't have lifted like this in the 30. It's one thing to give something a wiggle jiggle room. It's another to let the whole trade get away from you. You can't do that. So I didn't want this to do a buy setup here in the 60 or the 30. And when it did, then it was done. And it was still a really nice trade. This was my whole morning. It was a beautiful day. And once again, when you find a good gap that sets up with a nice entry and makes money as soon as you take the trade and follows through and breaks low today, you stay in it. You ride it. You can book it in chunks, but you're playing it hard with the ads, doing every single thing you possibly can to get the move. This is what you have to do with these things. You maximize them to the level that you can. And then sometimes they go to the bigger full on target and sometimes they don't. But that's why you have to manage them lower and lower and lower and lower. But as the day goes on, you can't be too tight or you're going to get flipped out. So it has to be about really seeing what's going on with the chart here. Knowing that this needed to hold in here because if it didn't, it would do a scoop. Knowing that it couldn't do a 30-minute buy setup, which it did in here, okay, or the 60. It was really the 60 that was the problem here. When it went over 46. What time of the day did that happen here exactly? Hold on. That was the issue. This was okay here. And this was even okay here. And then this is where it became a problem in here after it lifted over that. That was where it became a problem for me. This boop over here and crash back down, this was fine. This looked great. And then when it started to lift again, I said nope. And I took it off. But it would have taken me out actually. Where would it have taken me out here in this guy? I still would have gotten out before this capitulation. You know? Really beautiful trade though this morning. Play of the day as for the short is FIO for the stock Swoosh show, and it's going to close the day with a bottoming tail and a green head. Many times when these things move hard and fast and run, when they decide to bounce, they do make a tail, and sometimes the tailie can have a green body, but you play the tail. I mean, I basically played the tail today. I basically played this tail today from tip to toe, and it was a beautiful trade. This was red. This was red on the day. This whole thing was red on the day. And I was in this trade. But the open was 1362. And when that went over that, then the bar went green. And then it turned green, which is not what you want to see. Something isn't going to go to the target when it turns green at, after noon, after 12 o'clock. So sometimes you can get these things down where they just bleed, and it appeared to be setting up just that way. It was a nice trade. If you have any questions or would like more information on trading gaps, please feel free to reach out to me at melissa@thestockswoosh.com. The next Golden Gap class is May 18th and 19th. If you're interested in more information, please feel free to email me at melissa@thestockswoosh.com to sign up for the class. Thanks so much, everyone. This is FIO. Nice, beautiful short gap today. And really nice trade this morning. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.